Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us again for this podcast, episode number 234 of the Immigration Lawyers Podcast. We love coming on the show, and one of our favorite guests is Nadine Heitz. She's immigration attorney in Florida who also deals with a lot of tech stuff, is always at the forefront of this. And she's a great contributor to the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine. If you check out the newest issue, you'll see her work at immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine. I get a lot of good feedback from articles about how helpful and interesting they are, and people love it. So it's very kind of her to contribute and be on the show as well. I also want to thank our sponsors, in particular, DocWise, who's been so helpful with the podcast and the magazine to support it, get this stuff up off the ground. DocWise is the all-in-one form system, customer management tools, all that kind of stuff. What you really need to do is just contact them, schedule a test run. Even if you have DocWise, schedule a test run. You can talk with them, learn about new features, and they're really good at communicating and reaching out to them to try to help make the product even better, because there's always room to grow, but they're one of the best. And I appreciate what they do. You get 10% off their annual plan, an extra 10% off by going to docwise.com/immigration-lawyers-podcast. So check it out, docwise.com. Also, check out the magazine, as I said. We'll talk more about that in a second. And if you're interested in learning about how to do marriage immigration cases, what inadmissibility is, consular processing adjustment, you're getting involved in the field, I have the great course that breaks it all down, 12 hours plus tens of hours of office hours that come with it. You're going to really enjoy it and really get a hang of what you're doing in a fun atmosphere. So having said that, Nadine, thank you so much for coming on the show again.
Hi, it's great to be back.
Wonderful. So you've had a lot going on. You've been going to a lot of conferences and stuff. What's the news on tech and immigration space and management, really?
Yeah, well, I have been going on a lot of conferences lately, especially the most recent one, which was the first in-person conference that I attended since the COVID lockdown, and that was the ABA Tech Show in Chicago just several weeks ago. So that was really exciting. And I went with a group from AILA, and it was just totally awesome, even though apparently, there weren't as many people as usually come in person to this type of conference. It was still a really, really good turnout. And I really wished I had seen more immigration lawyers there, but, probably two factors, COVID, being one of them. But I don't know if many immigration lawyers perhaps think that conference is really maybe worth it for them. We have AILA, we have our own conferences, and it's not cheap, of course, to go there, right? Pay for all of that. But for me, it was really, really eye-opening and a really, really positive experience. So I'd love for hopefully more immigration lawyers in the future to attend.
One thing to think about is when you go to events that are not purely immigration lawyers, that's a great referral source, because you meet personal injury lawyers, and we're federal practice, so whoever's there could send us clients in the database. So it's actually good marketing to us. It pays. You definitely, if you get to know a couple of people there, it'll pay for itself in the medium term. But you did do a great write-up actually about all the things you've learned. Did I keep it? I read it, and I was like, that was a long one, so I took different stuff because I wanted to read one line and think about it, and so it took me long to read. I wish I kept it open, but I'll find it. So I want to go over some key stuff. Actually, I wrote notes somewhere, 2 or 3 of them down. I'm like, I got to talk with you about it. Let me see if I actually.
I'm trying to look for the post that I created, and of course, I'm not finding it right now. But
well, I got a couple that really touched me. I was like, okay, this is good. So. We didn't plan this conversation out. There's so much we could talk about. So for those listening, we're just kind of like just going on this. It's not as planned because I'm excited to talk with you. So I just want to bring up some stuff first. I was hoping to talk about the ABS stuff after a while, then I just went straight into it. So one thing says, often a person does not even know the lawyer that a lawyer could help them. So you had these notes and he said things, takeaways. I mean, literally find the link, send it to me so we can have the show notes so people could visit it. It says like absolutely first thing you should do this week when you hear this, download this, read this. But one line you wrote in there that impressed you was someone saying often a person does not even know that a lawyer could help them. And it's just crazy to think that, because we do immigration. It's like obviously you're gonna call a lawyer, ask him what I-130 is, what removal is, what waivers are. But I frequently have clients who like are in a mess. I'm like, why don't you talk about a lawyer with this before? They're like, I didn't know that was a thing. I'm like, how do you not know that was a thing? I'm like, obviously, but that is how it is. So it's such a key thing.
Absolutely. And it definitely applies to our industry as well, because, keep in mind, this conference is for the entire legal industry, right?
Yeah.
And I highly doubt that it was probably I think that was actually a comment from the Clio Trends report. Of course, the CEO from Clio was there at the ABA Tech Show. He's awesome. He gave a lot of really good presentations. But, you know, it did strike me too, which is why it was one of the comments I noted, because you're right, in our field, so many people, they'll go to the notary down the street, the notario, right? They'll have their friend help them, you know, they'll, of course, you know, not even think of hiring an immigration lawyer, maybe for a case that they think is basic. But as we all know, some of the most basic cases can get pretty complicated quickly, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm dealing with a couple right now. It's name spelling incorrect and like don't match this, and that, just like things you never expect. So that's something that pops up, and it goes into the importance of helping educate people. And like I do a lot of YouTube videos. There's people who try to like just research what's going on, and they find a lawyer talking about it. They may not even know they could have hired a lawyer. At least there's just better education. I mean, the first step, and what we do as lawyers is help disseminate knowledge, complex knowledge, ease it up, you know, filter it, clean it up, and provide it for people at a cost, at a fee. But more and more with technology, a lot of it is going for free to help people, because access to justice. I mean, the stats, I think you had there too, how few people actually hire lawyers or could afford lawyers. So there has to be a component of the community service that we put as much information about. There's always the disclaimer that this is educational only, not intended for the individual legal advice, but it's better than nothing, I think. So it's good to have this stuff out there.
Yeah. And then, you know, what I heard at this was the key topic that, you know, we as lawyers are not necessarily innovators, right? Like we're kind of taught through law school and through our training that failure is not an option, but that's kind of contrary to becoming innovative with how we manage maybe our technology tools. And, you know, it's something we really have to think about. And we as lawyers have to realize that, you know, some of the biggest challenges I think we're going to face in the future is that the companies like Amazon, they really are coming after us for legal services, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not only, you know, some of the other ones, Boundless now, who does like immigration kind of do-it-yourself cases, right? But can you imagine if Amazon gets into the legal space, what's that going to do?
If they were able to create Uber and take down the taxi cab unions and their not unions, but the medallion system and all that, which is like the hardcore paid local politicians for keeping these things, they're going to take down lawyers eventually. And so you got to be prepared for that, have systems be efficient. And I was talking to my associate today. It's like, it's happening. If we're going to be a law firm, we have to make sure, like, there's limousine companies that still are doing great. You know, we got to have our standards so high. And I kind of think of ourselves, I was telling her, of like the Lamborghini or the Louis Vuitton of immigration lawyers. Whereas, you know, there's going to be people who make purses, they're going to be people who make all these products, and they're going to water it down. But if we keep our name and brand and our service at that high level, people are still going to go to the top hotel. I went to a hotel for a dinner. There was like this event my wife was invited to. We went on Friday. It was it's like Ritz-Carlton in Marina del Rey. And like I just read a book about Ritz-Carlton, where they Harvard School of Business did a review of their stuff, and I was going to high hopes because they said their brand is the best, because their service is the best. And I was kind of disappointed in the service; it's pretty whatever, but it has this brand. So even if you have Holiday Inns and all this like less expensive kind of stuff, they're still making money through this downturn. So you kind of have to, you know, either go McDonald's style, really cheap and high volume to compete with Amazon who's coming in, or these Canadian these big four accounting firms who are coming in to take the space, or you go the other end, really high end kind of stuff. The middle is going to eat up. It's going to be very difficult. Sorry, where was it going with that? But it's something to be really prepared for, because they're coming at us. And you know, you got to think of lawyers are always thinking about. Sorry to take over this discussion, but this is stuff that got me thinking a lot. It's just like, we always think our goal is to make people's lives easier, and whatever that is, we have to kind of go with it, even if it eats at our bottom line. But it's kind of like, how can we work with services in that new changing paradigm to keep our businesses going as well?
Right. Absolutely. And, you know, you're seeing it happening in some states. This was a topic of discussion. Utah, Arizona, they are actually leading the way, and they've eliminated some of the ethics rules that, you know, don't allow us to partner with a non-lawyer, right? So, you know, if we can't, I know we all have mixed feelings about this. We don't want the legal industry to become suddenly, not what it is now. But I think we also have to be realistic that if we are going to innovate in the future, that it may be beneficial to bring in a partner who is perhaps a tech type partner if you're developing your firm to a way that can help more people. Maybe you can reduce your prices a little bit. You can still offer one-on-one high quality legal services, but like you were saying, those people that don't even realize an immigration lawyer can help them, yes, we can. And maybe we can help them in a really more efficient manner by improving the technology that we use and maybe even lowering our prices a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a couple of things on which one is you might have for Nadine, it's raining here, so my internet cuts in and out. You might have not heard some of the parts I was saying, but I was reading the Ombudsman's report from last year, and they estimated from USCIS numbers that only 30% of people actually use a lawyer. So to me, it's like not as much competition with these people coming in. There's a bigger pie out there that's not getting access. So they could come in, take 60% of that pie, and then we still don't even notice it. So it's kind of like, how do you work? And then with this partnering up, what's going to happen is you're going to have these sharks, these really go-getter management companies that are coming in, marketing companies, and tech people. So you can know the immigration law, you partner up with someone who does tech, you partner with someone who knows how to run a business better than you do, because we're all like, a lot of immigration lawyers are going to be mediocre business people, reality is, because that's not our forte. And then hire a marketing person is really good, because again, immigration lawyers are pretty terrible at marketing. Lawyers in general are pretty terrible at marketing. So all of a sudden you have this 4-person partnership where you're doing the core business operations, but for technical work, but then all these people are doing it, they're going to blow it out the water. So you can potentially make a lot more money, even charging less, by having those kind of partners. So it's, I wasn't even thinking about that. I just mentioned this partnerships and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's probably going to be what's going to end up happening.
Right. And some of the other statistics that struck me was, again, this conference is meant for all lawyers, not just immigration lawyers. And, when they said things like, and I had one of these in my report, 73% of clients want to use online communications with their lawyer. I thought, well, that's not what I'm hearing from my immigration lawyer colleagues, right? Because we're the opposite. We're always saying our clients don't want to use technology. My client is not tech savvy. That's the article I did for your Toolbox magazine recently, right? How to make your client more tech savvy, because I don't think we give our clients enough chance to become tech savvy, or maybe have them, learn how to be more tech savvy. I mean, most of them do have a smartphone. They could probably use Facebook and Instagram. So I think it's our job to help our clients be more tech savvy. And apparently there are clients in other legal fields that do want this type of online communication with lawyers, right? Again, those are, some really interesting statistics there. Another one that said 80% of consumer legal needs are not being met. So what does that mean? Lawyers are failing the market, right? And again, this goes back to the initial comment you mentioned, that many people don't even know that an immigration lawyer, or any lawyer, so to speak, can help their case.
Yeah. And so that pie is out there to get, and it's a disservice really as part of our profession. We're supposed to go there and help people. We're defenders of the public against certain institutions. So there's so much more to talk about.
Cost is a big factor too, right? I mean, there are some services now. I'm seeing a lot more of them coming out, like funding. I know that DocketWise, your sponsor, has a new kind of integration with one of these funding companies, right? Where they will fund your client's case for you, including the filing fees, and then you just you get your money all up front. Of course, the client is going to have to pay interest, right? Which is different from what a lot of us offer in our payment plans. We offer most of us interest-free plans. But, the other statistic we heard at the show was 63% of people can't even afford a $500 emergency, right? So legal fees are expensive, and probably a big reason why people do go to these do-it-yourself services or think they can handle it themselves.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, luckily with our work, like I make enough money where I could be a different mindset. But I remember when I was starting, I was just like, how would someone afford me? Like, I don't think I'll be able to afford myself when I started my firm. And I go for a particular type of clientele that it just works, so it hasn't been an issue. But it is important, like, to think about how do we get these services. And it's hard because sometimes people just want form review, for example. They do that, I want 30, I 45, and they want to check the work. But and I don't accept prepared case review because I got to talk with the people.
Yeah,
And just
I
because they
don't
say
either.
something on the form, so many times we're just asking, have you been arrested before? First they
Yeah.
say no, you say, have you arrested? No. The third time I asked them, like, oh yeah, I got arrested. I was in prison for 3 months, and I'm like, or jail. I'm like, how did you not? How do I have to ask? So it's like,
Yeah.
you can't just review the form because
No,
it's
you
gonna go bad.
can't. No, I agree. I agree. And then once we do have the client, how do we treat the client once we do get them,
Well,
right?
I'm gonna get to that. That's part of, I don't, sorry,
Yeah, go
I'll
ahead
jump
if
in.
you have some comments on that.
Yeah, so you wrote the 2-week rule: shower them responses, send a box of cookies up front and not at the end.
Right. So this was a tip from a speaker who said, he actually does. I don't know if he does personal injury. I can't remember what he does, but no, he doesn't do personal injury. He does bankruptcy, and he specializes in student loan debt. But anyways, so he said, yeah, why wait until the end of the case to send your client that gift or that box of cookies, right? He
Mhm.
sends it in the first 2 weeks of the case. So he feels like, oh, wow, they love me now, right? They're
Yeah.
not going to complain about anything I do now. And then his partner lawyer, she commented how, yeah, the first couple of weeks are critical, right? So, and I try to do that in my firm as well. And we use a lot of automations to get this going. Like the minute somebody signs my contract and makes their deposit, I want to be on that case immediately. So we have an automation that they get, their welcome message, and they get a little bit of reading material. They get a little bit of a couple of links to, some systems that we're using. So they really feel like, wow, Nadine really cares about my case. I just signed up and she's already sending me information.
Yeah.
And then we have other systems that make it easy for us to get their information, right? We send them their DocketWise link to their questionnaire. I mean, that literally takes what? 2 minutes, right? Quick, send them the link, send them their request to upload their documents. So everything is done quickly at the very beginning. So, you don't want to sit on that case and have it waiting. And then the last thing you want is the client to reach out to you, 4 days later. Oh, I signed up 4 days ago. Like, what do I do now, right? So I think we can use technology to automate some of these things, or to use tools that make our life easy and our staff's life easy to send out the information that you need to get back, right? To send out the web links that you need to get back from your client.
When I read this, I was just beginning to think, like, maybe because I just send a thank you email when it's done and say, here's a link for leaving a review and stuff. But I just, like, this month, I was like, maybe I should send them something as a congratulations. Then I read your thing. I'm like, you guys are already so ahead of me. I'm thinking whether I should even give them a gift. Now you guys are already at the beginning. You switching it up. So
Well, you know what I started doing? I actually use an app called Nice Job for reviews, which is really cool because it can help you, get your reviews by just reminding your client. But I don't wait until the very end of the case. I do it at certain milestones of their case. So for example, once we've sent out their entire package, let's say to USCIS, we've sent the client a link that they can upload their package. They're feeling really good now, right? They're happy. Wow, my case is filed. Like, before we get into the 9-month waiting period, right? They're happy now. So I send out a review asking for a review at that time period. And, why wait until the end, right? Now, I'm not sending out the cookies in the first 2 weeks, but still, that whole idea, I think, is a great concept.
I got to think about that because I'm worried, like, and I'm lucky I've had cases go bad, but it's like if they think about reviews and the case go bad, they're gonna go make it bad. But I'm lucky I've never had that issue, but you never know.
Yeah.
What I have a subscription to wine.com, so I pay a yearly fee and they don't charge for mailing and stuff like that. But they have these like baskets that are prepared, a bottle of wine and like the things that go with wine, maybe cheese or chocolate and that kind of stuff. And it comes with a cutting board where you put the cheese on. And that's always neat because even after they get dumped, the wine, the food, there's this like wooden cutting board that's going to stay at home and everyone can use it. So someone bought it for me. I'm like, oh, it's so neat. I like this. So I usually just send that for certain things, not to clients. So I was thinking I was sending that, but the wine is it's alcohol. Some you have Muslim clients and stuff, you might not want to drink that.
Right,
But cookies is probably the best. Finding a good cookie site is probably
Yeah, he actually found a cookie company locally that brands the cookies and puts his
Oh,
logo
really?
stamp on them. Yeah, which is
Okay.
kind of interesting. But and then the other thing that clients say they really want from their lawyer is responsiveness, right? So this was another interesting speaker panel where they asked us, how many ways do you think Domino's Pizza offers to order? Like, how many different ways can you order Domino's Pizza? Now, you might have read my thing, or maybe you don't remember, but how many different ways do you think, John?
You know, I don't remember this. I don't remember it particularly, but so because I've used that, I know they have the website, they have the app, and they have phone. I would say 3.
Well, apparently it's 18.
Wow.
Like, and then now I can't remember all the ways, but they listed them all. Like, there's like a million ways you can order it. Now, I don't know how they come to 18, but let's just say it's a lot, right? So flexibility, right? So, we can offer something similar to our clients, right? So maybe our clients want to text with us. Maybe they want to only email with us. Maybe, I always say to other immigration lawyers, try to get your clients to use your technology systems, but of course you're going to find some that just absolutely can't. So, you do need to have like a backup plan for perhaps you do need to have somebody come to the office and collect their documents that way. But still, if you can at least get maybe 60 to 70% of your clients using your systems, like that will really revolutionize your own practice and allow you to cut down on manual labor. And be more accurate, maybe in collecting data, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to my team too, and they're kind of frustrated that I stopped answering our phone. If you call the office line, it says you have to email us. So I'm like, we're not going to answer. These are general calls. No call service. Just go straight answer me. It says email us, and only direct calls are for existing clients. They have that number if they need to get a hold of me and stuff like that. Because I hate texting. Conversations with non-clients, it could drag on forever if we're talking with them. So it's like, just put an email in writing. I'll force them to think it through what they're trying to say, because on the phone take 30 minutes, 20 minutes to get like what they're trying to get out. And it forces my clients to be only people who are email efficient. So, because that's the way I like it by email. But it probably leaves a lot of money on the table where clients are like, oh, they didn't talk, I'm gonna call somebody else. But it's helped me get a clientele exactly how I want. But I was a full solo for 10 years. So for me, I just got to do things. But now they got a team and stuff. It's easier for me to distribute that. And some people do like texting, but I don't like it. But
I'm not crazy about texting with clients either. But I do insist that every client has an email address. If you don't have an email, I'm sorry, but you're just not going to be able to be my client. I'll gladly show you how to get an email. Like, go to Gmail. I'll help you set it up in the beginning. But you need to have an email, because that's unfortunately still a way that many of us are communicating, right? We use text more of like an emergency, like we have text ability. It'll actually go to my phone app because I use dial pad. Like if I'm somewhere at a hearing or an interview and the client is running late, you can text the office number and it'll come through on my phone app so that I can say to them, yeah, I'm here, where are you? So that's how I like to use text. But the other thing too is that it's really all about the experience and what you tell the client in the beginning to expect, right? So you mentioned that you stopped answering the phones. Another solution to that is what we do is we have a reception service. We happen to use Smith AI, but we also don't answer our phones. But every single phone call we get 24/7 is answered by a real person. It's either my receptionist, but if she's not available, it's Smith AI. But we don't talk to our clients when they call, whether it's a new potential lead or whether it's an existing client. Our reception service is trained to say, oh, hi, if it's a client, we'll schedule a call back. And, the legal assistant will call you back at a time that we're all available, right? So the client is available. They know that on tomorrow at 10 a.m., my assistant is going to call them back. That way he can be prepared for their case, right? Just like you said, otherwise, you just don't know what, this random phone call is if you just answer and speak to people whenever they call, right?
Yeah.
And for new leads, they book a consultation or a screening on our calendar, and that's how we handle that.
There's so much technology, like the text that you said, you go to computer, you get in an email format, you respond, so you have to use your phone. And this was going to be my second one. We kind of talked about it because it relates to what we're talking about, but most businesses suck at onboarding clients. And so that onboarding procedure creates a lot of tension that people could drop off from, or not to friction that causes people to drop off or lose an experience. So, people a lot of times just email me because a lot of my marketing is online. So there's already people that go to YouTube and see me or find something online. So they already prefer kind of to do email my clients, because even myself, it's just easier to send an email and wait for the response. As opposed to picking up the phone and calling, because people are more and more averse to that because everything is digital.
Yeah. I also like things in writing. Like if I'm telling a client something they need to do, or, it's nice to have that email that is explaining it so that, and we save everything to our practice management system, which by the way is, of course, as you know, Monday. And I've also launched my own fully customized immigration practice management system through Monday that is finally almost ready for me to roll out to other immigration lawyers that want to adopt this. It's a big undertaking, but it's taking longer than I thought, but it's going to be really awesome.
That's how it is when you create these courses. I have I created one course and I have 10 other different courses on fiance visas and remote conditions. And I have people that say, well, pay your price, we'll do it. I feel contacting me because I plug it. I just it's such a big endeavor. I want an L1 intercompany transfer course and I've outlined it, but I'm like, there's so much work and everything just gets pushed back. So that's why having team members it's so helpful, but it's not an easy thing for people who do courses and stuff like that. It's just got to understand whatever course it is, there's a lot of work that goes into creating.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that courses. Yeah, I have to actually create training videos and everything on how to use this, right? So it's not, I'm working with someone else. So, he's helping me develop the system, and, he's a consultant. So, I have to rely on his availability. So
So it's a newfound, they have this thing, probably everyone's seen their advertisement on Facebook, masterclass or something like that. People come. It's to set that up, the camera, the editing, getting the contracts, and they make millions off it, probably tens of millions or 100 million. But setting just one course up is just so much that goes into it. It seems seamless at the end. How come they're charging so much just to talk for an hour? But no, you don't understand how much work is involved. Then you got to market it too.
And to keep the material relevant, right? Because if things change, you may have to update the materials.
That's for my course, for my marriage green card course, I have an office hour I do and I record that so members get it. So updates that happen, because it's hard to redo the whole video, but it's okay, here's the addendum, here's the email, these things change. And the toolbox itself has the email list that updates people. But maintaining this stuff's a lot of work. But it's fun, it's interesting, and it's, everyone could do it. It's a secondary, revenue source, multi-revenue sources that's using the same knowledge you have, but just a different clientele. Instead of business to consumers, business to business, and develop good relationships. And I even get referrals from my own students. So it's a very interesting thing.
That's great. Yeah.
Cool. So much else to talk about, Nadine. What is, I do want to mention that you have your Facebook group called Technology for Immigration Practitioners. TIP. Did I say it right? I always butcher it.
Technology for Immigration Practitioners. Yeah. And there's also the website, which is tiplawyers.com. And then my new practice management system is going to be on that website soon. And it's called TIPSY, so tipsy. So meaning, kind of cute, meaning Technology for Immigration Practitioner, systems for you, because it's a whole system that I built customized for you, the immigration attorney, that connects Monday to your calendar app, to your, immigration form software app. And there's just a lot of integrations, a lot of automations for automatic email status reports to clients, and just something that I felt was lacking in all the other Clio, whether it's Practice Panther, whether it's Serenade, none of them really had the customization that I wanted to track my cases in the patterns that I want to see them being tracked. So this has made our life so much easier, and it's I'm really happy that I can, roll that out to other lawyers as we do some coaching sessions. So they can check out my website, tiplawyers.com, and they can book a one-on-one coaching session with me. And that's where I can kind of show them what it is. And if they don't want that system, that's fine. I can also help them with the systems they are using, because I've used most of them. I've experimented over the last 7 years with almost all of them.
Real cool. Thanks so much for coming on the show. It's good having you regular on here. Just so much information. I get excited talking about this stuff because
Yeah,
it's the
thank
future. So
you.
why not?
All
It's hard not to be
right.
excited. Thank you, Nadine. Stay on the line. I'll
Okay.
say bye to everybody. Catch your
Okay.
article about bringing people up to date on clients to get them to work with your technological systems at the
Yeah.
most recent issue of the magazine. Go to
Yeah.
immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine. Check it out there. And I look forward to having you more on the show and the magazine, everything, Nadine.
Okay, great.
Thank
Join
you.
my Facebook group. Make sure you find it.
For sure.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Take care. Bye.